another thing here is I will try to copy my public key to my Ansible server. To do that, or to my local host. To do that, first thing I will do, I will switch to the root, right? Then I will change the password of user, right? And another thing I have to do, switch to EC2 user, is I will get into etc ssh, right? Then I will sudo nano ssh config, right? And then go down here, right? And they have to find the password authentication is here, right? We'll uncomment it, then save it, then do ssh, or sorry, sudo service sshd reload. So now if I try to ssh, copy id, then to my local host, right? Yes. So there is a mistake here. So if I try to ssh to my local host, right? The permission denied. So what I have to do is come back to the home directory, right? Is the sh ls, and then I'm going to do, try to cat id, or what I have to do is to copy the id rsa dot pop into the authorized, and click on the tape button, or sorry, I have to cut, not copy, sorry, to cut, right? Now if I try to cut authorized, click the tape button. Nice. So now I will come back to my directory and try now to ssh to local host, right? And now it works. Right, nice. So the Ansible server based on the SSH connection, right? So the first thing that you have to do is try to connect to the server that you want to have control over them, right? Then that IP address, you have to add them to the inventory file that we have created under the etc Ansible, and the file is called hosts. So sudo nano etc Ansible hosts, right? Host, and here I will create another group and they call it phs or kube, right? Then here I will type the IP address of the node, right? And they will see if it will work or not. So yes, and now if I try to make to see Ansible dash version working clear, then if I try to ping and to see if now I have control over the local hosts, and the master node. So type all. All means that all targets, the localhost group and the cube group. -m ping, right? And for example, if you didn't create that host inventory under the etc ansible folder, you can create it locally in the same directory, and then you have to add the -i option, then the name of the hosts, right? So here it tell me unreachable, and they will tell you why that is. I have to modify something. In the previous old versions, you can only add the IP address in the inventory file, but now you have to add the name and the IP address. So etc ansible and then hosts, right? Then go down here, then type ubuntu, right? Save that now, and if we try now to ping, yes, the ping work over the master node and the localhost node. So we have the control over both of the nodes, right? Next step now, what we have to do is we will launch another instance as our worker node, right? Then install the dependencies and the packages that are needed to create our cluster that will use the kubedm to create our Kubernetes cluster. So for that, let us launch another EC2 instance and we call it a worker node, right? Now we will launch another EC2 instance and we will call it the worker node. Sorry. Solution instance. Go down here and use the Ubuntu image. Then choose my VPC, and for the subnet we will choose the public subnet one. Then add storage, right? Add the tag, give it the name, and we call it worker node. And then for the security group, I will open all the ports, and I want to have everyone to access to my worker node. Review and launch, then choose the previous key pair that I have created. Then I confirm that I have them, then I launch instance. In the previous videos, I have told you that in the public subnets you have to check an option that is enable auto assign IP address settings. And what is that to make our instance has a static IP address, we have to allocate an IP address for it, and it will be cost because we have to pay for that IP address because it will be static. It will be assigned only for our EC2 instance. We choose auto assign IP address